Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about 3 principles to help you become a manifesting giant very quickly. Now, the reason I wanted to get into this is because there's a lot of ideas and theories about how manifestation works. There's a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of books over the span of time. Manifestation is not something that is new. However, if you take the time to experiment and go through some material and do systematic methods as far as how to see the way from which manifestation or your imagination affects the reality without, then it's very easy to come to the conclusions which ultimately, like I said, will help you manifest like a giant or like a master. Before we begin, definitely hit the like button. It does something to the algorithm so that those people who wouldn't normally be able to see this video will be able to see it. Hit the subscribe button and the bell icon if you want to be notified for all very systematic techniques on how to manifest whatever you want. And so let's just jump right into it then. So we're talking about the way that manifestation affects the world, right? How does manifestation work? And as I said, there's a ton of information out there by endless or countless people, but ultimately through systematic testing, and you can do this yourself, and I'll give you an example or two on how to do this, but you can know exactly what to expect, what to do, how to do it, to basically get whatever it is that you want, right? So first thing, just the premise is that manifestation is essentially your imagination creating and pushing out on the external reality whatever you've held in your mind. So it's a broad statement, it's a general statement, but nevertheless, it's exactly that way. So if you can conceive something in your imagination and fix it there, hold it in your mind's eye as if you've already received it, and this is anything. This is money, wealth, a job, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a husband, a wife, different character traits, different physical traits, gaining weight, losing weight, whatever it is that you want, modifying or affecting other people. You can do that with manifestation. If you can imagine that it has already happened, then that is the very first step. So the idea here, and this leads to the first principle, which is that everyone is connected by the subconscious. Now, if we look at it at a higher level, it's a little bit more complex than that, but it also can't really be quantified exactly into words. But the idea is that every single person is connected by the subconscious, and there's some medium either existing within the subconscious or external to it that connects all things, or all people, all objects, everything, so that when we impress a set of instructions or an image, right, an imaginal act, on the subconscious mind, it will then essentially give information to whoever needs to be given information to ultimately fulfill your end result. So the subconscious, everyone is connected by, right? And it's not that we have to send anything. We don't have to explicitly receive anything. It will happen all on its own. And the way that this happens essentially is that we have our imagination. So our imagination is essentially a body, like an ocean, like a body of water, but it consists of all things possible, which is the second thing, is the imagination, right? So you have all things all people are connected by the subconscious mind. And then you have the second principle, and in the end I'll tie these all together, but the second principle is that the imagination is the thing that impresses upon the subconscious mind, right? So when we're expecting a specific result, people have to be moved, people have to execute certain exact instructions, including ourselves. If there's multiple people involved, say you want to receive money or free coffee, or have someone dream about you, or manifest a specific person, there may be multiple people involved in that, right? It could be one person, could be 10 people, could be 1,000 people, right? So the way to get messages to the subconscious mind is through the imagination. And so what we have to do then is devise a scene which represents a reality that exists only if our desire had been fulfilled. So put in another way, we take what we want. You want money, you want to get married, we'll go with money, right? What we want to do here is devise a reality where you already have money. So you contemplate, you say, what would I be doing? How much money would I have? What scene would imply that I have that money already? Would I be looking at my bank account? Would I be making a large purchase? Would I be living in the house that I want to live at? Would I have a check in my hand? So we look and we contemplate an image or a scene which would imply that you've already received your manifestation, and you fix that, you hold that in your imagination and you play it out. But the key here is to do it in first person point of view. And the reason for this is because whatever is on our imagination will be directly carbon copied, it will be replicated, it will be exactly pushed out in the manner that we imagine it. So we want to be able to perceive ourselves in first person point of view so that when it's manifested, we are receiving it in first person point of view. And just to give you what sometimes is used here or recommended is that we imagine in third person, so watching ourselves on a movie screen. And I think it's just the inherent ego of the human mind, where when we imagine something, we generally have to perceive ourselves. And I think that's just, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. That's just how we are. But most people imagine automatically in third person, but it's just to be able to see their self. Even in a dream, if you recall your dreams, oftentimes you think of your dreams as in third person. But think back now to dreams that you thought were very, very realistic. You were in that dream. You were acting in that dream. You were in first person point of view. And if you've ever been in a lucid dream, you also have had this experience. So again, the reason for first person point of view is just to simply make sure that that image in your mind is exactly replicated outward so that you, and not a random third person or third party, is receiving the thing that you want. So that's the second principle, is the imagination. The first one is the subconscious, and everyone is connected. Now, the third piece here that's I think it answers a lot of questions for a lot of people, but it's that there is an intelligence that instructs everyone to take their certain action, right? So once we use our imagination, we imagine in first person point of view, and we do it enough so that it impresses our subconscious mind, then ultimately a set of instructions is formed, right? This is not something that we can see. It happens beyond our conscious capability. We don't know when it's happening. We don't know how it's going to happen. But it's almost as if a perfect playbook has been written out by something with excellent, perfect intelligence that somehow has the way to communicate with 1, 5, 10, 1,000, a million, a billion people in order to take very specific actions which will ultimately lead you toward your end result. So this is super critical because it kind of dismisses the idea that we have to inherently keep this idea alive in our mind. It's almost as if we're handing it off to something. Once we imagine it thoroughly and we make sure that it's in our subconscious mind, we can essentially let go, knowing that ultimately our end result will come to pass. So we've always been manifesting. We always will be manifesting. Everything that we've encountered is a manifestation from us, whether it was deliberately or inadvertently, or an accident rather. And ultimately, we were not even aware that we were doing this, but nevertheless, we get thoughts, ideas, impulses, or anything that would otherwise cause us to act in a perfect way to fulfill our desires. But these instructions go into the subconscious mind, which we're not aware of, and that's why it's called the subconscious mind. There's generally two names for that. There's the conscious mind, which is our analytical, decision-making mind, and then there's the subconscious mind, which is non-selective, but it stores all of our experiences, our beliefs, our expectations and assumptions, and oftentimes memories as well, so that when we encounter something that invokes some type of feeling or triggers us, that memory that exists within the subconscious mind will pop up into your conscious mind and cause you to react in a similar way that you did the first time, or based on the results of that first memory that you have. So the subconscious mind will receive information from this all-wise power and give you exactly the impulse that you need, the exact thought that you need at the exact time to make you act in a perfect role, a perfect way, in order for you ultimately and everyone else to act together, whether it's at the same time or sequentially, to give you your result. So we don't have to try to beam information to another person. That's not what we're doing. It's not me sending a message to you. It's me passing something off to this I guess you could say even energy or power, or God as I choose to call it. And God pulls the strings, gives everyone whatever thought they need to have to take whatever action, ultimately working in unison in a perfect, exacting nature to get you everything that you want. Now, this is always happening. We're always receiving some types of thoughts. We're always taking some type of action. We don't always know what it is that we're moving towards. But think back now to your manifestations that you have achieved, right? Many times I've referred to the idea of writing a list of things as if you've already received them sequentially, one after the other after the next, and watching as they all happen. And as they do, when you receive your free cup of coffee, when that person sends you a text message, when that person dreams of you, when you find money on the ground, keep in mind or think back to how did this all happen? I have a friend, and you'll find that events were perfect and somehow everything worked out miraculously. So I have a friend I shared about probably a year and a half ago at this point. He ended up going to prison for something. Now, he had a very serious charge, and ultimately he was facing, I think it was 15 years. So it was like a really substantial charge. Nevertheless, I imagined that he would be out of prison and that everything would be good, right? In other words, like in various words, right? So nevertheless, I just imagined him being at my place and us talking, and then he ended up getting sent to prison, right? But however, instead of getting 15 years, he only ended up getting, I think it was 18 months or something, which is miraculous on its own because the offense was super serious, super critical. And the other day, so he had gone away. I talked to him a couple times on video chat. He's a good guy, a good friend, and so I just wanted to be there for him. Just the same way that I would want someone to be for me in a similar situation. So ultimately, I did my imagining, and then I just let it all go, right? I know I handed it off. I know how to manifest. I've done it tens of thousands of times by this point. I know how the process works. I know what to expect. And he still got sent to prison, right? So, but at first I didn't know the time that he was getting. And then very recently, someone brought up a TV show that I should watch. I turned it on and I realized that it was the friend in prison who had showed it to me like 15 months ago or something like that, before he went in. And it got me thinking about him, and I was wondering what happened to him, where he is. I knew he was in prison, that much I was sure, but how long was he there? When was he going to get out, right? So that was just 3 days ago, 4 days ago, something like that. I started thinking about him. I went to go search him up on the inmate search and said he was to be released in like 4 months, which I was like, that's really crazy that he got that little time. And, but ultimately then I found his inmate number. I was going to go send him an email and maybe send him a book or something like that. I pulled up the tab on my phone and I was like, okay, this is annoying on my phone. So I just forgot about it for a minute. A day later, he sends me a message. He got out that day. And so it's just very interesting how I had zero idea, no indication. None of my other people stayed in contact with him, but nevertheless, he was brought up. He was on my mind. I had a video of him I would watch. And then ultimately the next day, he got released from prison and then decided to send me a message instantly. I had zero idea. It was just an impulse that came to someone's mind, that came to my mind to reveal to me the manifestation that I had set into motion a long time ago, that he would not serve a lot of time in prison. Ultimately, he got, what, less than 10% of the initial charge's outcome, right? And all different pieces had to work in perfect harmony in order for him to get that, right? He got released 4 months early, right? I mean, when I saw his inmate page, he was supposed to have been released in 4 months from now. He never got any write-ups, which would push you back time in prison. He got to go to a very specific section of prison where they cut your time in half. Then COVID hit, and he ended up getting released 4 months early. So ultimately, all these forces work together exactly to fulfill that manifestation. Now, nevertheless, it still took time to happen, but it's imagining, and then the instruction is accepted by what I would call God, and then God pulls all the strings, whether it takes a day, a week, a month, a year, in this case, a little bit over a year for all pieces to work together, but all along, all different things working in harmony to get him out and back in reality in the most effective, efficient way, and being a productive member of society, doing what he's supposed to be doing, which is great. So it's perfect, right? That's just one example of the thousands that I've seen. I implore you to start keeping track of your manifestations as they unfold and start analyzing who took what action, what was my mindset, right? You'll find you could imagine it, impress, and then forget. And then after that, everything automatically will take form. You'll have to do nothing about it. In fact, I forgot because I did not think his day was coming anytime soon, but then it will, in the end, be revealed to you in first-person point of view, which is the same way as I had imagined. Now, ultimately, the idea is to keep track and analyze and remember the three principles, which is that your subconsciouses are generally connected to one another, but there's a medium in the middle, that intelligent medium. You impress with your imagination with the scene after the end result, and then that intelligence, which connects everything, feeds instructions all over the place. Perfect instructions, exact instructions beyond what we have any possibility of conceiving, and then ultimately the result will be thrown in your face to show you your end result. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that was that you can keep those principles in mind when thinking about how manifestation works. I hope it takes the pressure off a lot of you having to mastermind some grand scheme. And I hope it helps you understand how people are moving in unison, in perfection, to give you your end. And so hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you want more exact methods on how to manifest what you want in a very predictable, precise way. Bell icon if I didn't say that, and stay tuned for more. Thank you.